I'm very lucky that I know for sure I shared a racetrack with him once during a race, but I also was at Bishop's Court for a test day in 1998, early on in the year. And Joey was there with a very plain black looking carbon fibre 500V twin that had just arrived from Honda.
Yeah.
And he was there presumably testing it, I don't know. And I have a great picture of myself with him he's on this 500 and I'm on my newly arrived 600, which was still as yet unpainted. So neither of us looked like who we ought to look like, if you know what I mean. And you could argue that it isn't Joey and that it isn't me. But I have just, the beauty of it is I have just overtaken him.
Right.
And I love that forever. I can't even remember who took it. It's lurking in the house somewhere. I don't know. I couldn't even tell you where it is in the house. But you'd be surprised to know that the greatest race I ever saw him ride in was an Easter Monday at Kirkeston at a short circuit. And he was well past, I'm reluctant to say well past his best, but certainly at short circuits he just wasn't at it anymore. Yeah. And it was him and Mike Swan. Yeah. And Mike was at the peak of his powers then, if you like, and they were absolutely at it, hammer and tongs. I'm talking blood, sweat, snot and tears. And Swanee just couldn't get past him. He just couldn't do it. And I know Mike quite well. And I spoke to Mike afterwards and I said, you couldn't. He says, I couldn't have tried any harder. He's an old man and I just could not squeeze by him. Like, I just could not do it. And Joey he was on the RC45. And he just, I don't know what it was that day. Maybe he woke up and felt good or something. I can't explain it. I've never got the chance to ask him about it, never spoke to him about it. But what a race. I mean, and I know how good Mike Swan is, particularly around the like of Kirkeston. Yeah. And he just couldn't get past him, no matter what he did, no matter how late he braked in with that hairpin. Joey was always that extra week later. And it's shocking to say it for me because I'm a road race fan and a road racer. But that was the greatest race I ever saw him ride. It was fantastic. 8 laps. You'd be surprised to know that the greatest race I ever saw him ride in was an Easter Monday at Kirkeston at a short circuit. And he was well past, I'm reluctant to say well past his best, but certainly at short circuits he just wasn't at it anymore. And it was him and Mike Swan. And Mike was at the peak of his powers then, if you like, and they were absolutely at it, hammer and tongs. I'm talking blood, sweat, snot and tears. And Swanee just couldn't get past him. He just couldn't do it. And I know Mike quite well. And I spoke to Mike afterwards and I said, you couldn't. He says, I couldn't have tried any harder. He's an old man and I just could not squeeze by him. Like, I just could not do it. And Joey he was on the RC45. And he just, I don't know what it was that day. Maybe he woke up and felt good or something. I can't explain it. I've never got the chance to ask him about it, never spoke to him about it. But what a race. I mean, and I know how good Mike Swan is, particularly around the like of Kirkeston. Yeah. And he just couldn't get past him, no matter what he did, no matter how late he braked in with that hairpin. Joey was always that extra week later. And it's shocking to say it for me because I'm a road race fan and a road racer. But that was the greatest race I ever saw him ride. It was fantastic. And my other big memory of him, which goes away from home briefly, was at the post-TT meeting on the Saturday after the TT down at Balan. Yeah. I'd been there with Ronnie because he'd been riding in the TT, but I took my 600 along to enter that race at Balan. And it was a combined 600 stroke 250 race. So the 600s all off went, and we maybe had maybe the 250s went first. I can't remember. Whatever it was, anyway, off we went. And coming just to Church Bends, I heard this ring ding 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 behind me. And as I turned around and looked over my shoulder, I was looking like almost as close as that now, right into his eyeballs, and he wasn't looking at me, he was looking through me to whatever he was focused on up the road, you know. But that was the one time I shared a proper race track with him in a race, you know, and it was just fantastic. Couldn't believe there was me, 36, 37-year-old, just started racing, wobbling around at the back, and I was on the same race as Joey Dunlop. It's just fantastic.
Superb.
And he whooshed into Church Bends. As I came out of Church Bends, he was on his way down the street, just skimming the curb and driving away. And I thought, I've got the best view of the world here. I'm watching a genius at work, and I can see it better than anyone else. No one in this race meeting has just seen what I've seen. It's brilliant.
Why would I go to the Manx Grand Prix and not the TT if I can go to one? Because I know you're an ambassador for the Manx Grand Prix.
I am, yes. Well, that's a strange wee job. When that was first announced to us, and I got first wind of it, I thought, I wonder what this is going to involve, And when I asked, I was told, just keep doing what you're already doing. And what that was just a way of recognising the efforts of certain of us who had come across to the club, or word had got back to the club that we were doing a wee bit to help promote the thing and encourage people to go and do it and help them with newcomers and all those kind of things. And it was just a wee bit of official recognition for that. And so it continues now, right from the very, I think it's third or fourth year of it now. People, I get an email now and again, I know you're an ambassador for Manx, can you tell me what to do? How do I go about it? Who do I talk to? And I think also as well during the meeting itself, the ambassadors are like a body of people that an ordinary punter can come to and ask a question without looking silly in the office if they prefer not to, or they can have a difficult question asked on their behalf by the ambassador, because it don't bother me to go and talk to Anne and any of the girls in the office. They all know me. We're all friends, and if whatever issue I would care to raise, it'll be easy for me to raise. Whereas a newcomer there for the first time might just feel that wee bit intimidated by it all. And maybe frightened to ask a question for fear of whatever, Yes, and he doesn't want to look silly. But quite often it turns out whatever the question is, the ambassador will answer it on the spot straight away. Like whatever.
Of course, you get paid hundreds of thousands of pounds.
Oh, they do. They pay me for that. Absolutely, yes. I got a wee green waterproof coat and a T-shirt, I think, and we get a bit of a night out when we're there as well. It's
weird thing I noticed at the TT. I'm sure the Grand Prix is the same. They announced the winner. And the guy who's not winning is maybe just started his last lap.
Yes.
He's getting his trophy. He's doing all the things.
Yes, and there's people still out there.
Not sure. I like that.
It's quite often it's just for the purposes of time that they have to go ahead with the trophy ceremony. I mean, if you've a day with 2 races, you've got to start moving on. Hopefully the guy who's last on the road will get back and not, it doesn't interfere with the knock-on effect for the next race. But it is frustrating. I've come up that return lane and watched the whole thing going on as I've ridden past. In one sense, it's annoying.
No one's paying attention to you. No one's interested in anyone else.
Coming over the line, I think people still keep an eye out for people coming over. Maybe not everybody, but people are still watching for you. Certainly the marshals are still looking out for you. I'll get a wave on the last lap from friends and stuff. I mean, no, it's still, I think the average spectator, because you have to remember, the vast bulk of spectators aren't at the grandstand.
No.
They're all spread out all around, so they're still watching for their favourite guy to come through, or the guy who's last on the road. The marshals are watching for him and things like that. So people are still taking an interest in you. You're not lost, definitely not. More so at the TT and the Manx, I think, because the value of just finishing is still huge.
Absolutely.
The sort of, like even for the classic and post-classic and some of the older 400s, to successfully do 4 laps around there, the kind of speed and abuse that you're meeting out to that bike, it's still an impressive thing to do to my mind, to get a finish like at all. I have to say that because that's my target usually.
Absolutely. Well, I need to, having marshalled that last, I know exactly the last senior race, I know exactly what we're talking about, listening to race control, the last bike on the circuit, his number, this, that and the other.
It would be nice if everybody could be finished and then they do the podium ceremony, but I just, from a practical point of view, I don't think they can. For the time being, they're both always going to be there. So if it was a toss-up between the two, my logic would be, well, the TT will still be there next year, so why not go to the Manx this year and see what you think? That would be how I would sell it to you. Just give the Manx a whiz, and you might find you like it better. You know, I know I do nowadays.
Yeah.
See, for a visit to the TT now, I'll go up to Douglas and sign on to Marshall and spend the rest of my time elsewhere.
Yeah.
Whereas for the Manx, I'm in the paddock and I stay there the whole time. I rarely move. The furthest to go away is probably Ballaugh Bridge. Do you know what a lap?
Yes, yes.
But for me personally, I'm absolutely passionate about the Manx. I love it. It's a fantastic fortnight. People, some of the competitors need to try and remember and learn and understand that they are very lucky to be allowed to race on that circuit, and that perhaps maybe we don't get the same glossy attention as TT riders, but we should still be enjoying the fact that we are on the best racetrack in the world. It's been very carefully closed off for our pleasure, and maybe it is a bit expensive, and maybe the toilets do get blocked up, and maybe the campsite's just not as perfect as living in MotoGP paddock. But by God, you're on the best racetrack in the world. You should take value from that and enjoy that for what it is, to my mind.
Road racing or time trials?
Oh, somebody wants to. Interesting distinction. Well, TT does not stand for time trial.
No,
you know
Tourist
that?
Trophy, yeah.
There's a subtle
But
difference.
the Grand Prix is a time trial as well. Am I right? The Manx Grand Prix.
Oh yes, it's run along the same
yes,
lines
yes.
as the TT. Yes, it's an against the clock thing.
Yeah.
You're on your own. If the truth be told, I think I like the idea that I think I prefer time trial. I would have to say. I think I like that whole on your own, one bit of road, you focusing on what you're doing. Having said that, there's no better place to get hooked up with somebody and have a bit of an old ding dong for a few laps, you know. So it's hard to be sure. I wouldn't condemn one over the other.
If they created a race which you had a bike for and a license for, and we're going to race around the mountain circuit, 20 bikes, would you do it?
As a mass start?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Particularly if we could all be reasonably competitive with each other, you know, of course. It'll never happen, we wouldn't allow it now, but I mean, what fun that would be, like, of course. Bloody hell. Of course you're going to say yes. I mean, some of the greatest, I think the Manx Grand Prix has the record for the closest ever finish on the course, where the two lads started at 1 and 2 as a pair and were never any more than a few seconds apart and finished like 0.01 apart at the end. I mean, they were, you know, they left together and they came back together, and they
After
had
200
4
miles
laps of absolute mad ding dong with each other. I mean, what more could it? If you think about it, what more could you want in terms of the joy of riding a motorbike fast and doing it with somebody that you trust and have absolute belief in as well? I mean, God, it's just it'd be thrilling. It's marvellous. But we can't.
That was Ryan coming in.
It's lost now because we start singly for the races now, and it's the same at the TT. So it won't quite happen the same way anymore. But a close finish could still happen, but you know there'll be a bigger gap between them, if you know what I mean, because they'll never